Hello, hello. So happy to be here. I am Rose Stein with Rose Stein Coaching, and I am the founder of the Button the Jeans program. Welcome to my free Facebook community group where I am here on Wishing Wednesday with a topic that is near and dear to my heart that I would love to share with you. And today it is about our dear friend control. Yep. You guessed it. Control. Oh my goodness. And that is so many words have different meanings for different people, right? I mean, even if I were to say the word table, I'm thinking of a particular table in my mind, or maybe a couple of them that I've seen in my life. But if I lived in a different culture or had a different, life experience, if I was anyone else in the world, you're probably imagining your own type of table, like what material it is, what size it is. I mean, that really depends on what you're thinking, what you grew up with. What about kitchen table? Right? Obviously, I'm thinking about the one that I had literally my entire life that's right now in the garage. Right? It's one of those big round ones that had like flaps on the side, but like it didn't go all the way under. So if you were sitting on the side with the flaps down, it had this weird straight edge, but then like you couldn't put your knees anywhere. So you kind of had to like sit sideways because it didn't fold all the way under. And that was the one that I had when I was a kid. It's wood and it's still there. It's got little drawers on both sides. Like, what are you putting in that drawer? I have no idea. I don't think we ever put anything in those little drawers. So when we are speaking and we are speaking words and we're describing something, it's really important to communicate as clearly and effectively as possible. And you know what? That is one thing that all human beings just never get perfectly right. And why is because we're all different. We're so different. Communication is definitely number one on the list of things that we could work on as just human beings in general, right? Like, what do you mean by stuff? And then we make all these assumptions thinking that the other person understands what we're saying because we're speaking the same language, but we're not really. We all have our own language. It's more of a language of the mind and not necessarily just the language of the land. There is interpretation that is involved and that is necessary for communication to happen. So we are going to be talking about control today, which is really interesting. Some people feel very passionate about this kind of word and they're like, yes, that's exactly what I want. That's what I want. Boom, right on the money. Control is what I want. I want control over my weight. I want control over my food. I want control over my emotions. I want control over my mood. I want control over the world. And other people are like, hands off, man. The control is it is a mystery. It is not attainable. There is no way. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit and let you know that what I mean by control is a feeling, it is a sensation, is a very personal understanding of having the stability and the foundation underneath us to be able to move through life confidently and comfortably. That to me is also a sense of freedom. But when I feel like I have a solid foundation from which I am then experiencing life from, I feel like I am in control. I'm in control of my emotions, even though they might be up and down as they are. I'm a human being, so are you. Even if there is a storm that comes around, like, that you have the skill set as a sailor with a boat and a sail, and you will know what to do when the storm comes, when the wind comes, so you can be able to navigate appropriately and continue on your journey, which is wonderful to have that sense of confidence and stability. That to me is the kind of control over my life and my experience that I really want. And for a long time, I thought that if the outside stuff could just go along with the plan, right? Like if I just had, the right job and the right husband and I lived in the right place and, I did whatever I needed to do so that you treated me the way that I felt like I deserved to be treated, and all of these outside stuff, even my weight. I thought that if I just got to a certain weight, that then I would feel comfortable and confident inside my own heart, inside my own mind, inside my own body. And then I would feel like I was in control. Those things are nice. And it's not that we don't want to aspire to have things be the way that we want them to do. That's nice. That to me was not where I actually found the locus of control. For me, the locus of control, I had to go inside. I had to find that strength, that stability, that light that shines, the essence of what it means to be me underneath all of those layers of expectations and disappointments and frustrations and other people's ideas about who I am, my own ideas about who I should be and what I should be doing and what I should be eating and what I should be looking like and what I should be feeling. Underneath all of that stuff, there is a core center stability and strength that I choose to nurture every single day so that it is strong, regardless of what's happening in the world or not happening, regardless of even my own emotions and thoughts and feelings that sometimes get to seem a little bit overwhelming. I know that I have that stability and strength inside. And so how do we get that? Right? How do we actually do that? Oh, hey Paula. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I think I'm like figuring out how to go back and forth from the Zoom to like the live the live feed in Facebook. So that's fun. This center and locus of control is so important. And when I was taught the sort of things that I was taught about my mind and how to take back control of my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions, and then not really understanding that the food and the drinks that I was also putting into my body. So it wasn't just my thoughts and my thought process and needing to, kind of go to different forms of therapy and work on that kind of stuff. Like that was really wonderful and beautiful. And what I put into my body throws my system off as well. And my mood is also controlled, as we now know, by different aspects of our hormonal system. So inside of my body, when I'm eating a bunch of, food that doesn't really serve, that kind of spikes the mood or brings you down or brings you up and brings you down, and constantly kind of doing that activity, I felt totally out of control. And I didn't realize that it's what I eat, what I drink, what I think, and what I do. That all of these things create a hormonal response in the body, either awesome to my stability and my strength and my foundation and my experience of having control over my life and my weight and my food and my emotions and my mood, or throwing me totally out of whack. And honestly, it kind of was an excuse to eat more and drink more and hide more and put off dealing with my health and my vitality and my wellness more for another day. So taking back control is one of the best feelings in the world. I gotta tell you, to have that sense of strength and stability, to have that support and that foundation, then life can continue to happen. And I'm not swayed in the, going off in another direction. If we're gonna use that boat analogy again, right? If I'm like sailing in a boat and the wind comes and I don't know what to do with the sail, I have no stability, I have no foundation, I have no support, then I'm going to be blown with wherever the wind's going, right? But I don't want to go there. I have a plan and a focus. And that's what's so important about that as well. Okay, so perhaps this is a good opportunity to think about that and to access that, right? Because that actually is innate, internal, inside of you, literally right now as we speak. And one of the ways to access that genius, your own genius, because that is what you are the expert on your life. You are the expert on your experiences, on your mood, on what you need, what you don't need, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. You are the expert on your own life. Other people are going to have opinions, and they sure do. You know, they sure do. Opinions are like, oh, I have total potty mouth, so sometimes it almost just like shoots right out. And I have to remember that I'm like live to the public in the world. But there's that saying that opinions are like bottom holes. Because everybody's got one, right? Like if you're alive, you've got somewhere where the waste flows out of your body. And so, you know, we can kind of take other people's opinions with a grain of salt and know that you are your own genius. You have everything you need to be happy and healthy and joyous and free, to find that center and that locus of control. Now, if you're like me and you needed a little help finding that because it was underneath like many layers of stuff, then I wish you, yes, ask for help with that. There is a lot of help out there. Of course, I am more than willing to help you through that as well, show you what I've done, teach you, help guide you along the way so that your own inner light can really shine the brightest that is possible. And it feels so good to have that inside. So let's just take a moment to take a couple of deep breaths. And whether you are really like, yes, spot on, I know exactly what you're talking about, Rose, or perhaps you're like, yeah, that sort of makes sense. I wish that was true. I don't really have access to that locus of control, that centeredness right now. I'm feeling super chaotic and sporadic all over. That's okay too. Wherever you are on your journey, wherever you are today, because I'll be totally honest, from day to day, it can change, right? Sometimes it feels like there's nothing in between me and that centeredness. And sometimes it feels like there's a whole lot of stuff. And so wherever you are, it's perfectly natural. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly okay. It's just exactly what it is. So just take a moment to imagine that there's this inner spark. There is like a beautiful light that was there from the very moment that you were conceived, through the time that you were born, all through your childhood, all through all of your experiences, all the way to the moment that we call now. There is just an inner light, a spark of awareness that you know what needs to happen. You know what it is that you need for this body, for this mind, for this life. And even with outside noises and distractions, it's perfectly normal, right? I mean, that's life. It's nice to have everything be super quiet and everyone do what we want them to do. And sometimes life just happens. There are distractions. So I always like to kind of like laugh and incorporate whatever is going on into my moment, right? Because that's the real gem. That's the real power right there, is that when we begin to realize that we have that centered stability, regardless of what's happening or not happening around us, that is when we know that we've truly arrived. So just take a moment and allow all this stuff to be, even if the stuff is inside your mind, right? Thoughts doing their thing. Just take another deep breath and just allow whatever is to be that. Just accessing an inner light. All right. Always a pleasure, always a joy. I'm wishing you control, that beautiful center and locus of control today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. All right. Bye-bye.